So we got Captain America, the first Avenger, taking on Deadpool, the merc with a mouth. Who wins? Well, let's find out. During World War II, Steve Rogers volunteered to receive the experimental super soldier serum, enhanced to the pinnacle of human physical potential, and armed with an unbreakable shield, he became Captain America. After a failed mission left him encased in ice for decades, he was found and revived by the Avengers, later becoming the team's leader. Steve is as strong, fast, durable, and agile as any human one day could be, and is referred to as the next step in human evolution. Cap is strong enough to bench press half a ton as a warm-up, break steel chains. He's thrown his shield through a tank and pulled a helicopter out of the air. Steve is also incredibly durable, able to take punches from Namor, tank a point-blank explosion from Gambit, and one time he even survived a 200-foot fall from an airplane and suffered no discomfort. He's fast enough to run 60 miles per hour, and his reflexes are so great that he can easily dodge bullets. But many people can dodge bullets, so what makes Steve different? Well, Steve can actually see the bullets coming his way and move in time, while other bullet dodgers do it purely by years of training. Another major enhancement by the serum is that Cap has no fatigue toxin buildup, which means that he effectively never tires, and can perform at his maximum ability for an incredible period of time. Steve is one of the best fighters in the Marvel Universe, and is a master of a large number of different fighting styles. He's even developed his own fighting style, which melds jiu-jitsu, boxing, judo, karate, pressure points, all trained acrobatics, and the use of his shield. Speaking of the shield, let's talk about that for a second. Captain America's shield is a vibranium alloy and is virtually unbreakable. It absorbs the kinetic force of anything that strikes it, which enables Cap to ricochet the shield off of objects and allow it to come back to him. And then in his way of Deadpool, Wade Wilson is a former test subject of the Weapon X program, where he received his regenerative healing factor through the scientific experiments conducted upon him. Deadpool's powers and personality traits combine to make a wild, mentally unstable, and unpredictable mercenary. Deadpool has been a member of the X-Force and the Thunderbolts, and a self-professed member of the X-Men and the Avengers. He's been altered by Weapon X to have superhuman strength. While not quite on par with someone like Captain America, Wade is able to lift over 1,000 pounds. His speed, reflexes, and agility are also enhanced, and Deadpool is able to dodge point-blank gunfire, disarm opponents before they even know what's happening, and can even deflect bullets with his katanas. But where Deadpool really shines is his durability and his healing factor. Wade is one of the greatest healing factors in the Marvel Universe, up there with Wolverine and Hulk, and can regenerate bodily tissue at extremely fast rates. Deadpool's healing factor is actually derived from Wolverine's, but unlike Logan's, Wade's is somewhat dependent upon his willpower. He survived being impaled, decapitated, blown apart, riddled with bullets, all with no lasting damage, and has even regenerated from just a hand before. Because of his healing factor, Deadpool is also immune to poison, sedatives, and doesn't produce as many fatigue toxins, meaning he can fight for much longer than the average human. Wade is a skilled fighter and martial artist, being able to battle against Wolverine, Iron Fist, Black Panther, and Captain America, and has even defeated Taskmaster before. He's also a very unpredictable fighter, which throws off even the most skilled and experienced warriors. He carries around a massive arsenal, complete with multiple different firearms, explosives, and bladed weapons, with his favorite being his katanas. Deadpool also has the ability to break the fourth wall, and he knows that he's a comic book character, but that ability really isn't super important in a fight. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, these two have actually fought several times throughout the comics, so I suppose the smart thing to do is look at these fights and see what we can learn from them. Actually, check that. Let's circle back around to those fights later. Right now, I actually want to focus on physicality. So both of these people went through different programs and took different serums, but the end result is the same. Everything about them was elevated to superhuman levels. Deadpool is strong enough to kick down metal doors, break a man's neck with 2 fingers, and while posing as Spider-Man, he showed he was strong enough to move a helicopter in the air, and actually compared himself to Spidey in terms of strength. However, Wade is definitely overestimating his strength there, and underestimating Peter's. Because Deadpool isn't as strong as Spider-Man, and he's not even as strong as Cap. Just like Deadpool, Steve has pulled a helicopter out of the air, but one time a skyscraper crashed down around him, and he was able to protect them by supporting some of the debris with his shield. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't actually hold up a skyscraper, just supported some of the debris. Steve also lifted up and flipped over a 12-ton concrete pillar, which is more impressive than anything Wade has done. Speed and agility wise, these guys are actually really close. They're both easily able to dodge bullets, even rapid machine gun fire at point blank range, and evade attacks from the best of the best. In fact, in one of the previous fights, Deadpool actually managed to catch Captain America's shield when he threw it at him. But even though both of these guys are fast and agile, I gotta give the edge here to Steve. He literally is faster, as Cap can run a mile in a minute, and has also got better reflexes than Deadpool, as it's not just his bodily speed and agility, but his mind has been enhanced as well, and he's able to process information so much faster than the normal person. Cap has said that the reason he's able to dodge bullets is because he can actually see the bullets coming his way and react in time. And one time, don't ask me how, but he was able to dodge a bullet from a gun that was pointed right up to his head. I haven't seen Deadpool do anything on that level. Now, durability wise, you obviously gotta give the edge to Deadpool. No question about it. His healing factor is his greatest asset in this fight. He's had his head crushed by Luke Cage and kept on fighting, was completely fine after being caught in massive explosions, is fine after being punched through buildings by the Hulk, and is relatively unhurt by shield throws by Captain America. Wade's durability is what's going to keep him going in this fight, and might actually lead him to victory here. But before we get to that, let's talk about Cap's durability. Because even though he doesn't have a healing factor like Deadpool, Steve's durability can't be underestimated. He's performed a halo jump from 10 miles up without a parachute. He's been shot before, and didn't even notice until the fight was over, and one time had a building dropped on him, didn't suffer any broken bones, and went on to win the fight. Captain America is a highly impressive, and I think kinda underrated level of durability. But physicality isn't the only thing that these heroes need to bring them to victory. Not even Deadpool's healing factor alone can ensure that he'll win. Fighting skill and gear is such an important part of this showdown, almost more important than physical stats. So let's talk about the times that these heroes have faced off in comics. They've had a couple of fights that were short and inconclusive, with Wade running away or them coming to a conclusion or something like that. So we're not going to focus on those. Instead, there are two fights that I want to hone in on. The first one occurred in Deadpool Volume 2, Issue 28, where Deadpool fought against Steve, and while the fight was fairly even, it appeared that Wade might have actually had the advantage and the leg up before Moon Knight interfered. But there are a couple things to that fight that I think disqualifies it. For starters, Cap didn't have his shield, and while Wade only had his katana, so not his normal loadout either, Cap's shield is so important to his fighting style, and he's a fundamentally different fighter with it than he is without it. Secondly, this wasn't actually the real Steve Rogers, but was a clone of Captain America. So while it's possible that he had the same fighting skill and style of the real Cap, it's also just as likely that this entire fight is discredited because it was clone Cap. I believe the second fight is the more interesting one, and can give us a better answer here. It occurred in Despicable Deadpool issue 296, and let's just give a little bit of background information before the actual fight. Hydra Cap had recruited Deadpool for the Avengers, saying that he could take Wolverine's spot. But later on, things took a turn for the worse, when Cap ordered Deadpool to murder Agent Coulson. Wade was incredibly conflicted with what he should do, but he remembered Black Panther saying that if you're ever conflicted, follow Captain America, and he had heard this order come from Steve's own mouth, so he did it. He killed Phil Coulson, and he lost everything because of it. Because when the real Cap returned and Hydra America was brought crumbling to the ground, Deadpool was robbed of his chance to do the right thing and left buried beneath a building. Even though Wade had lost the most and was fooled worse than anyone by his former hero, he had no one else to turn to. Thus, he was forced to turn to supervillainy, and had a list of people he was forced to kill in order to keep a young girl alive. The context behind all this is so important, because when Steve showed up to stop Deadpool, this is a Wade who was taking the fight incredibly seriously, and all of his fury and anger could be directed at one man, Steve Rogers. But yet Captain America was able to easily hold him off, and prove that he is a significantly better fighter. Using relatively simple punches, kicks, and shield hits, and even letting Deadpool get in a few free hits, Steve easily got the better of him in this fight. And this was a Deadpool taking the fight very seriously, which he rarely does. It's more likely that he'll try and joke around and be his normal self, and we saw how well that worked against Black Panther. Basically, when going up against such a skilled fighter as T'Challa or Steve, you have to take the fight seriously, or you're gonna lose. Cap's shield will block everything that Deadpool can throw at him. He's shown that he can dodge and block bullets from even the most skilled and lethal shots, and Steve has even used the shield to shatter Wade's swords before. The only real question we need to ask is how will Steve bypass Deadpool's healing factor? Well, Cap has actually mentioned that he pulls his punches in every fight, so as not to permanently harm someone. But Deadpool is one of the only people on the planet with which he feels he doesn't have to hold back on. And when Steve isn't holding back, he's punched a man's head 180 degrees around, kicked his foot through a man's chest, punched a man so hard that he dented a school bus, and knocked out a member of the wrecking crew with one punch. He's also ripped off a robot's head and limbs before. If Cap really wanted to, he could mess Deadpool up. And that's just with his fist, not even mentioning his shield. He's thrown that shield straight through a truck, through a tank, and straight through a monster's head. He could easily hurt Deadpool with that shield. And even though Wade has got his healing factor, it's got limits as well. Well, not necessarily limits, because it does seem like he can heal from most anything, but sometimes it takes time for him to heal, and he's also been knocked out before. I'm really betting that Cap can knock him out or incapacitate him, especially since Steve's already proven he's a better fighter than even a serious Deadpool, has no problem actually injuring him, and can block most all of Wade's attacks with his shield. Deadpool will definitely claim a few victories, but Captain America is winning this one. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just this one every single weekday, and I will see you next time.